Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Islamic Pulse Talk Show. We are talking about women's liberation in the West. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Islamic Pulse Talk Show. We are talking about women's liberation in the West. In order to talk a little bit about the subject, we invited Sheikh Abdul Majid. Sheikh Abdul Majid, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Islamic Pulse Talk Show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is my utmost pleasure.
Thank you. It's our honor to have you once again on the Islamic Pulse Talk Show. We were discussing a little bit about how one of the major issues, not just in the present day, but something that perhaps in the last few decades has been a major issue, is the West's claim to liberate women.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to investigate this claim of theirs just a little bit. With that introduction, we hand it over to you in the name of Allah.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Firstly, the West seem to champion the movement and the struggle for the liberation of women. But the question we must not fail to ask is, what is the hidden agenda? Is the West actually and truly liberating the women?
Yeah.
And from what are they liberating the women, and to where are they taking the women? But I would prefer to refer to this as propaganda, but not as the West or the Western-led civilization is championing the slogan of the liberation of women.
Yeah.
Because you permit me to digress a little.
Sure, yeah.
You see,
Bismillah.
the approach that the Western-led civilization has tried from time memorial to date to influence public perceptions and public decisions and views is propaganda.
Yeah, sure.
You see, in one hand, they enable, they sponsor, they support genocide, like what is happening in Palestine, killing both women, killing men, women, children, and also both Muslims and Christians, destroying mosques and churches. And in the other hand, they would want to turn around to start to speak about human rights, to start to speak about the right of the Christians, like what the statement of Trump recently threatening Nigeria about genocide against the Christians. So this is all propaganda. But we must be very wise when the Western-led civilization start to champion a particular slogan. We must be very wise to study it and to study their motives and the intention behind it. You see, the question we will ask is, what is the Western? What does the West mean about the liberation of women?
What does it mean to
what
liberate
does it mean
women?
to liberate women? Where does the West want to take the women to? For us to answer this question, let's look at the men in the Western society. The men in the Western society today are subjected to mechanized and dehumanizing existence, a dehumanizing system that has reduced them to mere instrument of production in the factories and industries. Everything they do from morning till night in their 24 hours of the day is just to meet up to the demanding of the society, to the economic demanding of the society, the harsh situation that they are subjected to.
By the 1%, if you will. It's really interesting, these examples that you brought up, even so, for example, to have them dress in a certain way, it's like you said, it's a facade, it's a deception. So what happens in the Western culture, so they are making you believe that you are free to choose however you want to dress, but they give you A, B, and C options that this is how you're supposed to dress. So you see, that's the deception, is that it's like the hamster in a cage that chooses, which
that is it. There is this theory today about the commodification of the liberation of women. They commodify it for their own benefit. You see, the liberation of women today is reduced to cosmetics, to unruly dresses, to unruly behaviors. So this is the definition of liberation of women to the West. But today, in contrary to this, or in contrast to this, let's come to Islam. The liberation of women, in Islam or in Islamic-led civilization, is to allow the women gain education, to allow the women also contribute in the management of the society, the management of the affairs of the society. For example, the first university to be built, the first university to be built was built, I think it was in 1859, and it was built in Morocco. It is called Jami'atul Qarawiyin, and it is built by Fatima al-Fihri, alongside with her sister. You see, for a woman to have built such center of knowledge like university, it tells about the mindset of that society about women. So, and this is a society that was led by Islamic culture, Islamic revolution. So also let's come to Iran today. You see, in Iran today we have the women participating better and participating much in education and also in government, participating in every other fields of life. But the only difference between women in the Islamic Republic of Iran, a republic that is led by Islamic civilization, and women in the Western civilization, is that women to this Islamic Republic, they are to be guided, they are to be protected, they are to be the nurturer of generations, they are to be the builders of generation. So while in the West, women are to be reduced to instrument of satisfaction, instrument of production, instrument to satisfy the desires of the men. And this is the situation that Islam met the women. Before Islam, in the Arabian Peninsula, the women were subjected to different dehumanizations. They were not allowed to inherit. The women were considered as instrument of production. They were considered things to be inherited. They were considered as commodities.
Things to be bought and sold.
To be bought and sold. Things to be used for the satisfaction of the men and also to entertain the men. They were stripped down and they would be dancing before the women, and the women would be and the men would be submerging themselves in amusement. This was the situation before Islam came. But when Islam came, Islam liberated the women from this situation, creating a social status for the women, giving them position, giving them voice, giving them space. But the West today is trying to drag us back to the same dehumanizing situation that Islam has liberated the women from. Now the underlying question is, who is actually liberating the women? Is it the West that is reducing the women to mere instrument, or Islamic-led civilization that is creating a voice for the women and also encouraging the women to participate in education and also to participate in the affairs of the state, of the affairs of the society?
You know, it's really amazing here, if I kind of pause for a second, but you can very clearly see the double standard and the hypocrisy. You know, it's been a couple of decades now that there is this very serious attack upon Islam and the way that it views women, you know. The West has constantly, and for decades really, has constantly said that, you know, the oppression of women in Muslim lands and the various other different slander and libel and really lies that they put forth about how Islam treats women. And then you look at this, you know, double standard, you look at this hypocrisy of the West, as you gave some of these examples, you know, where women are just a commodity, if not even worse than a commodity. You know, something that is really, I guess, viral, for lack of a better word, is the whole Jeffrey Epstein and the island and the 14, 15-year-old girls, you know, and these incredibly famous and influential individuals who were involved in these things, and some of the stories that you hear about what happened to these 14, 15-year-old really are children, you know. What happened to these children is really shocking and disturbing beyond imagination. And this is something that the same champions of women's rights. So, and all of them, all of their hands are dirty. The same people that come out and talk about American freedom, American rights, American human rights, American women rights. These are the same people that were here beating up 14 and 15-year-old girls.
It is the same status quo repeating itself.
Yeah.
It's just obvious that the West, when they campaign for the liberation of the women, it is not actually a campaign to free the women. Rather, it is a fight from them, because when they campaign this, you would understand that they target it against Islam. It's like we want to liberate the women and free the women from Islam. But the actual truth is that they are fighting against Islam, because it is Islam that is actually liberating and freeing the women. So they are fighting. For example, who benefits? Who are the benefactors of all of this? The elites, the capitalists in the Western society. They are the ones that today we have women being involved in crime. Today we have suicide. I think as at 2024, we have 48,800 suiciders in the West, in America alone.
In just America,
In just
if
America.
not much more.
And we have 6,500 in UK. So who now we ask, who is benefiting and who is losing? Those that are benefiting are the capitalists, those who owns the means of production, because they need the women. They have reduced the women to things of advertisement. Look at cosmetics today. The women are used to advertise cosmetics. They are used to advertise clothes. They
Perfume,
are used
fashion.
to advertise fashions. To them, this is liberation of women. Meanwhile, in Iran today, I'm using Iran as a case of study, because Iran society is a society that is led by Islamic revolution. So Islamic culture and Islamic civilization. In the Iranian society today, come to look, we do not have women. Women are not reduced to ordinary instrument of advertisement. Rather, their status are perceived to be higher than that. They participate in education. Doctors. They participate in the government. They are the doctors. They are they are the doctors. They are in the school teaching. We have women today contributing to the society, and this is the meaning of freeing the women. However, when you see the West today fighting against Islam, we should understand that they are fighting against Islam because Islam is here to once again free the women from this dehumanization and from this mechanized system and society and existence in the Western society, the same way Islam has freed the women in the past from the same dehumanizing system in the Arabian Peninsula. So the same way we had the Meccans, we have the Quraysh fighting back, using all of their power against Islam, against Muhammad. Why? It's because they even told Prophet ﷺ that if you want to be king, we'll allow you to be the king. If you want the money, we will give you all the money. But don't tell us to have equal right and equal right to existence with the slaves, with the women. This is the problem they had with Prophet Muhammad. They didn't have issue with him because he said he was a prophet. They didn't have issue with him. They didn't have issue with him because he said that he called the people to the worshiping of God. They didn't have issue with that. The only issue they had is that do not tell us to leave equal right, to share equal right with the slaves. Do not tell us to share equal right with the women. It's the same thing today we have in the Western society. The only issue they have with Islamic-led revolution and civilization is that you have built your mosque, live in your mosque, discuss about your laws of ahkam, how to perform ablution, but do not tell the women, do not try to free the women from us, because when you do that, you are actually destroying our business. You are destroying our business. We need the women. We need to use the women
to sell our products
to sell our product out
and to be slaves, really.
To be slaves, to be used to satisfy our desires. So this is the issue. So fighting what we call today as campaign for the liberation of women is actually another fight. The same thing that happened in the past during the time of the Prophet. It's actually another fight by the elites, the capitalists, the owners of the means of production in the Western society against Islam that is actually freeing not only the women but also the men from them.
Yeah, you know what's also really interesting here, we brought up the Islamic Republic being led by the Islamic Revolution and trying to implement the pure Muhammadan Islam, right? You know, we find that, so for example, women are in a lot of different fields, as you had, you know, very eloquently spoken about. So whether they're doctors or engineers, scientists, researchers, you know, in the government, social positions, of course, mothers, sisters, daughters. And the beautiful thing about it is that in order to attain these positions, they don't have to remove their clothing at any extent. Whereas in the West, if you will see news anchors, or if you see professionals, if you see teachers, if you see, I don't know, doctors in the government. I mean, so for example, the clearest example is that the professional attire or uniform of a woman, you know, is a skirt that's either above her knees or below her knees, right? So automatically her legs are already uncovered. Then her top is in a certain way where that is also uncovered. So in order to progress and move up the chain in the Western country, you have to remove, as a woman, a part of your clothing. And this is...
This actually reminds me about what Sayyid, the son of Sayyid Muhammad Taqi al-Mudarrisi, he was addressing the university students in Iraq. And he said that, you see,
interesting.
When the women are reduced to understand that, are exploited and misled to understand that their power lies on their skin, on their body, on their appearance, that is why you see the women spending much in enhancing their body. We have cosmetic surgery, all of that, to enhance their body. Because the West has misled the women to think that when you have the what they consider to be beautiful body, when you have the beautiful body to satisfy us, then you become a stronger woman. But in Islam, no, the power of women lies here.
In the intellect,
in the intellect, in the heart. That is why Islam also encourages the women to enhance their reasoning, to enhance their understanding by encouraging them to go into schools to study, to go into the fields of studying. So you see, this is to tell us what is a woman in the West and what is a woman in Islam. So women in the West today, they are just, as I have rightly said, they are just instruments and commodities. But in Iran today, we see women participating in all of these feats without having to strip themselves. A woman does not need to show her nakedness. The woman does not need to show her adornment before she can contribute to the society. A woman does not need to show her adornment to be a good musician. She doesn't need to show her adornment to be a beautiful woman. Beauty, it is not on the skin. A woman does not need to subject herself to jeopardize her health by going into under the blade, all in the name of surgery and cosmetic surgery, just to fit the standard and the definition of a beautiful woman and the definition of a strong woman according to the West. But all a woman needs to do is she should enhance, she should be encouraged to study, to go into education. We need more women to build more schools, more universities. The same way we had Fatima Al-Fihri alongside her sister building the first university. And when she was building the first university, we know the condition of women in the West by then. They were not even allowed to participate in the public domain. They were not allowed to also contribute. So this is just, it is very empirical, it is very obvious that what the West means by the liberation of women, it is not actually to free the women. However, it is to commodify the woman. It is to exploit the desire for freedom, the desire for liberation in the women for their own benefit and for the good of the capitalist, the owner of the means of production, the elites in the West.
You know, Sheikh, if I can kind of add, because you also spoke about the genocide in Palestine, the men, women, and children being killed. Jazakallah, thank you so much, Sheikh Abdul Majid, taking time out and speaking about, you know, this whole idea that the Western nations or Western culture or the West in general, you know, has nothing to do with the liberation of women, but even the rest of the discussion, which was very interesting, that in general it is all of humanity that they want to enslave, and that humanity as a whole must stand up and say enough is enough. You know, we don't want to be slaves, we don't want to be servants, we don't want to be instruments, we don't want to be products anymore. We want true liberation, and of course that is the liberation that is brought about by the pure Muhammadan Islam. Jazakallah khair wa afiyah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear listeners, for joining us on the Islamic Pulse Talk Show. We were talking about the West's perspective on the liberation of women. That's all from us for now. Fi amanillah, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Wherever you are.